All right, welcome back to the Olimoleague. We're hopping into game. We didn't really advertise it during the first game, so I'm going to throw it out really quick. The Olimoleague, for those who don't know, is powered by Patreon. That means you guys who have hungrily asked for a Korean tournament for over a year now, who keep donating between 1, 5, 20, whatever amount of dollars you're able to afford each week. You're the reason this tournament happens on the regular. And if you want to support it, patreon.com/Olimoleague. JTDC, for example, is really generous and donated $5 to the stream earlier, but I would ask anybody doing that sort of thing would consider instead giving $1 a week to the Olimoleague. This isn't like saving children in Africa, but it does mean bigger, better prize pools, and you will get return on your investment because you get more awesome content for it. So the last point on that is, while we do share a lot of replays with our subscribers, this is one of the few exceptions where we absolutely do not. And the only way to get replays from this tournament is to contribute to said Patreon. So for whatever reason, hopefully you guys can get some value out of your dollars. But we are getting into game number 1 here in a best of 3. Spawning in the top left is going to be the Red Terran player, GuMiho.
In the bottom left, as the purple Zerg, he is TCM Soulkey.
Okay, so Soulkey and GuMiho are actually two of the, I don't know how you like the bigger bosses, I guess, when it comes to the Olimoleague. These are guys you would see GuMiho a lot more in HOTS, a lot less here in Legacy, but I actually feel like this best of 3 should be more like a semifinals match, a grand finals match type thing. It's a little unfortunate it's happening around 2, but it's still, I feel, going to be a good series because Soulkey's Zerg versus Terran has been looking pretty good lately.
Yeah, GuMiho is looking pretty okay, pretty solid, but just that Soulkey almost always makes it to the finals at the very least, and probably is going to win. Now that Byun has left us for good, apparently. He was, of course, the one guy that was always in the finals and would win all the time.
Yeah, I know. I miss Byun, too. One thing I've been really actually excited about watching Soulkey for was, okay, first off, he's one of the few players who started trying to use Baneleys and Mutalisks again when everyone else was throwing Roaches and Ravagers, and that's fine. That's not like innovative and crazy. But on the innovative and crazy side of things, he's also been doing like weird drops and Nightly Swarms on maps you wouldn't expect him to do them on. Like Lirlac, Ruins, these are expected Nightly Swarm maps. He'll do it on, say, Orbital or something. I really like his outside the box thinking when it comes to this matchup.
Yeah, he has some pretty cool builds. GuMiho, not outside the box thinking at all, just goes for, wow, the standard Heart of the Swarm build you'd ever get.
Right?
Fast 3rd CC after Hellions. That's, Hellions aren't too useful. 3rd CC is kind of greedy nowadays, and, well, I don't know. We'll see if Soulkey can actually punish this, of course. He might not be expecting it, so he might not bother scouting it.
Oh, getting an Overlord's going to be nice. I wonder, I think it was Igas, I want to say. Somebody tweeted, one of the players I follow on Twitter tweeted something recently like, what's more annoying, having to do with Reaper harass or losing an Overlord early on to a couple Marines? But I am curious, like, for Zerg, like, what the actual worst case scenario of the two is, because they can both be quite annoying.
I mean, from a little Zerg I play, I definitely think it's the Overlord snipe. I think that's what most people said to him, but I don't know, he didn't put a poll up.
My only thought would be Reapers can snowball, whereas Marines can't.
He just said the
I
one
meant
racks.
like the one, but even like one Reaper, if you have like a, I don't know, excuse me for the phrasing, like a retarded Zerg, like that Reaper could win the game, whereas
I guess
Marines couldn't.
I don't know. If one Reaper's gonna win you the game, then 2 Marines hunting Overlords might be able to too.
You know what? That's not that point. You got that stutter step on lockdown. 3rd base, of course, taking a little bit of fire, quite literally, but not anything too dangerous. In fact, as long as GuMiho doesn't lose these Hellions, it's going to be really nice. Because if these go down, he loses map control for the early game here. But unfortunately, Hellions are not going to be super amazing against what's coming, and that is some Roaches. Soulkey going to be laying in some upgrades too, so possibly going to add those Ravagers into the mix.
Yeah, quite unfortunate that Soulkey was unable to get a scouts, as I think if he did, then it would be one of those perfect opportunities to actually Nightly Swarm on Ruins, especially because GuMiho is not bothering to put a supply depot in his black space in his main.
Wind Slicer 669 just subscribe to the channel. He is subscriber 886 as we get ever closer to this insane 900 number. Now,
Cool.
in fairness, if I had to guess, I would say probably 20 to 25 of our subscribers are people who double sub, right? Like you got Riamar 1, 2, 3, 4, and
Yeah.
5, right? But even that in consideration, it blows my mind that two StarCraft 2 field reporters such as ourselves will get to this point where it's not just that people like our content, but they're willing to throw money towards our content through a monthly subscription. And I mean, that's awesome, and I'm super glad. It kind of solidifies that like we're putting on a good show, and at least some of you crazy nuts out there like it. Like it's a good feeling. So thank you guys so much.
Aw.
But this macro hatchery out of Soulkey, I like it at the third, but I'm curious why not just take a fourth instead.
Well, roaches aren't going to be able to react to a fourth, but I mean, in this case, it would have been the pocket force, though. Not sure. It's always odd when Zergs do that. But the main problem right now is that the roaches just aren't in the main. So
Yeah.
there's a main problem. Yeah. Here they come now, but there's not a lot of them. If combat shields was done, if the upgrade was done, I think we could certainly take on the roaches, but they do just go pack up and leave.
You're not that's my thing. Don't steal my thing, okay? You got about a million things going for you. Don't take my bad
Really?
humor.
Do I? Really?
It's just the main problem. All right, the roaches are slowly pushing this back. I'm actually surprised Soulkey didn't make any Ravagers until just now. Like 4 coming out's great, can help a little bit, but maybe take some shots on the Medivacs, maybe get a lucky hit on the Marines. But of course they're a little bit faster, and they've got that range bonus, which is nice over the roaches.
Yeah. So even though GuMiho went for a third CC, he didn't actually go for double engineering base, which is a little funny to see. So his +1 armor is only just now on the way. This
is a really fast hive. I didn't even realize. Like, I didn't even like.
Yeah.
Because of the timing, I didn't even think to look at the production tab for this. But this hive obviously means he's going to be trying to get those ultras out a little bit quicker. And for GuMiho's sake, this is that time to push. If you guys are struggling in this matchup, one thing we're seeing consistently out of pros, and I'm not speaking here out of experience by any stretch of the imagination, but one thing we're constantly seeing out of like every Terran Pro player is like, this timing is the most dangerous for Zerg. If you hit during this timing, you either force them to use up all their money so they can't make ultras when they finally have the capability to, or you'll actually straight up kill them because they've saved up so much or put stuff to the side and invested in this hive tech. Now the leapfrog with the tanks is kind of cute out of GuMiho, and he's really abusing the terrain quite well. But
Yeah.
he's not fully pushing. This is like harass at best. And now he scans the main. And I'm gonna break the graphs because I need to see. Did that even see the hive? That did see the hive.
Just barely. So, I mean, like, it's nice to know that the hive is already done and you have to worry so much. Because this could have been a game that was Mass Roach Ravager and he was actually running into a huge army. But his army supply is actually looking better, although only slightly. His upgrade is about to finish putting them on even. The fungals are coming out, but slowly, as the pathogen glands was never researched, so the infestors feel a little bit useless right now.
GuMiho's
Wherever
looking
they
pretty
are.
good with this attack, though. If he actually went in back here, he would have had that. This third
Well-
base, actually, the SimCity is really dangerous for Soulkey, but he's still going hard in the main. With these tanks obliterating those roaches, there's not really a huge threat yet. GuMiho, okay, he's gonna have to pick up now that the Lings are here, but still, lots of good trades going out here for him. But I don't
Yeah.
think this is still. We look at Soulkey's bank, and the big thing to look at is the gas more than the minerals. He's not being drained. He's not being forced to make a bunch of mutalisks or anything like this. So GuMiho's taking the appropriate precautions he's getting. It goes to Academy. He's going to try and deal with those ultralisks later. But his super sweet, sick timing, unfortunately, has been lost at this point.
So, just by dropping initially, Soulkey, I think, already realized that he had an opportunity to get to Hive. And then continuing to drop and not do a main push, like, it sucks and it can kill a lot of economy, potentially, but it is still... You're not losing your own army whenever you deal with drops, most of the time anyways. You're cleaning it up without losing too many lings. And I think GuMiho really wanted to do a main push, which he's doing right now, but he goes on to creep for it, so that was a little questionable. Ravager's shots going everywhere, but the roaches have all dissipated.
Yeah, the Concave's looking a little good. There's a lot of Lings coming out. There's no Ultras for this. Lots of Lings could potentially do this, but they're going to be coming out little bits at a time. That's what's going to make this so scary. Ravagers on the
looks
side
like-
still doing well, by the way. I didn't realize he had actually
Yeah.
pulled them back, so those are still going to hold. Those links coming out now are going to be more important than ever, and it's very critical that Soulkey actually doesn't lose these, because that corrosive bio combo is still going to be good, even without the infestation pit. But, oh man, this base, if he snipes that Ultros Cavern, that's going to stop Chitinous
Mega
plating.
Ultras!
That's going to buy him so much time.
Oh, man, that really sucks. Oh, Jesus, yeah, get out of there. So that was ended up being the push that GuMiho needed to probably win this game, actually. He's on 3 bases, so the 4th isn't quite done, and that is a little worrying, but only if the attack had failed. If the attack had failed and he hadn't had a 4th base, I think that would have been game over for him, actually, as the Ultras pop out with plating. But now Soulkey has a lot to recover, mostly just in time, so the plating has to restart, the Ultra Cavern has to finish. He didn't actually lose that much economy, so at 61 drones, and none of the bases actually got sniped. But of course his army did get kind of wrecked. But now GuMiho going for Liberators and Ghosts should set him back into a defensive position for a while. He's back to defending on drops.
Yeah, I mean, his harass is still looking good, but that deny on the Chitinous plating timing, that's actually kind of insanely important. Like, you could lose the Ultros Cavern and lose production on Ultras for a few minutes, that's fine, but the difference is, it's kind of like when you see Terran lose Stim in the early game. You know you've got a lot more time to work with when that's the case. This position in the Sim City being really well abused, nothing really dying here for GuMiho. Looks to hit in on the right side once again as well.
Oh, well, this is finally a base being sniped. And this one got really easily sniped, too. Soulkey did need that 4th. I'm really surprised he took it where he did, too. Like, not over here, where he takes it now. Realizing that might have been a better option. This Ultra does not have plating.
Yeah, so the Marines are actually doing damage here. That always looks so funny to me at a glance, where you're just like, oh, it's taking damage. Did it forget something? Like, But yeah, more Ultras on the way. Chitinous plating should finish this time. I was going to comment earlier when we saw those drops just kind of hanging around here. I was really hoping we'd see them drop right in this mineral patch, because one Marauder in hold position to the left of this infestation pit meant no lings were going to get back here at all. And he could have sniped out the Ultras Cavern. He could have sniped out the infestation pit. Like, GuMiho could have had a lot of cool potential for damage. I'm glad he did get that Ultra Cavern at the end, though.
Yeah, that was a pretty important snipe. And speaking of, we do have the army moving out.
It's a lot of empty medevacs.
Yeah, just the medevacs. And, like, there isn't really an army following.
Right? It almost looks like a bit of a fake. That this one Marine has a lot of influence.
I think he forgot. Like, he probably has his ghost hotkey to a different hotkey and then thought he pressed it and didn't. I don't know. But drop, once again, Liberators siege up the main base. Didn't notice this. So it's actually the drop doing the most damage. But
wait, did he lose all those medevacs?
We're denying.
He lost so many. Yeah, he lost so many of those medevacs.
Wow.
GuMiho was on like 13 medevacs before, down to 6. Yeah,
they
lost
got fumbled,
6.
I guess?
Yeah, Corsair Gear probably hit too. He did have a drop
God.
down here that got picked off as well. So, I mean, the amount of ghosts are scary, but you know what's funny? There's not enough buffer for the ghosts, so the lings could actually just probably run in, interrupt the hits. Because for those who don't know, we've seen this a million times, but I feel like it doesn't get discussed enough. A big part of having fungal growths is to stop the ghosts from sniping. That snipe ability, oh, those EMPs were glorious. Holy shit. Oh my god. Sorry, snipe. Well, it's a powerful ability. We watch it like, 3-shot an Ultralisk. It can be interrupted, and you lose the energy for it too. So fungal growths are ticking on the ghost. If a Zergling melees it, loses the Ultras Cavern again.
And placed in the same location.
I mean, there's not really a safe spot, all things considered. And I think it kind of goes in that logic if you want to defend this base because it's important to your mining. But yeah, it keeps getting sniped. That's not good. But anyways, snipe can be interrupted. That's why we didn't see him just blindly doing it. But now we see the links on top of it. Snipes get canceled. He's kind of finding some trouble getting those shots off. Ultra's finally taking some hits, but the Kaiser Blades splash most of those ghosts, so only 4 snipes land, and these Ultras push back, which should have been an unbeatable army for GuMiho.
Yeah, Mr. Chef, that EMP was so good. GuMiho, of course, was one of the first to start experimenting versus Breedlord Infestor with EMPs as well, but still ends up losing that fight, but not losing the game. He has a 4th base. He put it on location. It's planetary now. He's getting upgrades for all of his units, obviously on 3-3, while Soulkey was falling behind because of the earlier game. He's getting, I guess, more Liberators with Liberator range, so the Fusion Core is 4. So just trying to get everything at once might be his problem. Of course, it's not like he's on a super baller economy, and Liberators and Ghosts are both kind of expensive.
I see Tempo in chat. I don't know if he was here a few minutes ago, man, but I want to let you know, when the Liberators were in my main, I was thinking of that song, Imba, Liberators in my main. But okay, so for the way this is starting to go, though, I kind of, first off, I like Burrow. This is cool for what is the harass problem. I guess the harass element, you could call it. Ultra's choked in by the Queen, son of a bitch. But at the same time, range for those Liberators is going to be really cool to see as well.
Oh my god. Like, 9 Marauders here. They could have targeted down that hive so quickly.
Yeah. I mean, they still technically leaves one behind. Poor guy.
Yeah. Doesn't do so well against Lings, of course, but that is a large drop to just, know that it's out there. Soulkey has not really enough economy to start building spine crawlers and spores everywhere. GuMiho doesn't really have an economy to replace, like, if the 9 Marauders had gotten fungled.
Look at, by the way, the resources lost this game. Like, it is eerie how similar this is. It's more gas loss for one than the other, but still, it's just like, wow. Did not expect this to be so even.
Yeah, I really thought GuMiho was going to take a lead with all of his really cool moves. I mean, that one attack really looked like it was going to snowball, since Ultras do really need that plating, but the army composition for Soulkey is pretty perfect. It could use for some anti-air, but that's about it. Ravager, Curse of Bile, Fungal combinations only can do so much, and of course, you don't want to use all that energy to try and snipe 2 medevacs and have the army pounce on you. But that's about it.
Oh god,
otherwise,
all these
it's
Marauders
pretty
again.
perfect army.
Yeah, what's kind of hilarious about this is we've seen this in more recent days. Oh, these ghosts are in a really sick spot.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Ultras are... God, where are they even going?
That doesn't matter. The Marauders can actually focus them down when you've got this many versus like 1 or 2 Ultras at a time. The Marines are still going to be a little bit useless, unfortunately, but Fungal Growth misses once again. Double drops on this new base. That 1 Ultra is trying to guard it. Should actually. It's just Marines.
Yeah. But now, like... Soulkey has to leave Ultras at bases. That's a pretty expensive, huge base defender. I mean, it's really good. Better than DTs even, but...
It's only expensive if he doesn't have enough in his main army, and it kind of looks like he might. The Lings have Adrenal Glands to get on top of the Ghost pretty quickly. Some cities can be a little bit awkward for the Ultras, but there's Ravagers and other units in this composition. Left side's got this Marauders coming in. Fungal Growths need to hit them, hold them in place.
Yeah, and the Ghosts are getting pounced upon. Like, they had no buffer for them. They're going to get picked up, taken to the high ground, and try and get those snipes. This 3rd base is forfeit. It wasn't really a mining anyways. Like, the gas is something that GuMiho does not really need. And he just have to lift. That's okay for now.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I feel a little bit better for Soulkey in this position, but I actually could not tell you how this game's going to go at a glance. Like, this... GuMiho's taking some pretty bad engagements, and if he keeps that up, this is definitely going to be Soulkey's game. But at the same time, like, his strength this game hasn't been in direct engagements. It's been in drops and harass.
What? Yes, that is certainly true, but it looks like he might just... I know, right?
What's
like,
going
what
on?
is this thing doing?
Oh, he can't get past that 1 mineral patch. Look at that on the left side. It's just like 1-2 shot. Oh, my God.
That's hilarious.
I don't think,
well, now it's going to go around.
I don't think GuMiho realizes, though, because he, like, leaves the safety of that mineral patch. TIL, though, like, there's that one... I guess that's probably 1 grid space too small for the Ultra to pass through.
Yeah, he does get a fairly important mining base. His other base is going to try and get targeted with some fancy micro.
This is not just a fairly important mining base. This is a very important mining base. Playing splits versus the Ultras. Just in and out of the mineral. It's like cat versus mouse. That custom game picks up GuMiho. That's awesome.
That was really cool. I mean, even saving some of the Marines is pretty impressive. Now he has time to actually, like, get another army back up, which didn't look like he was going to have back when... God. Oh,
you know
my God.
He never went for Liberator range. We should have picked up on this. He's actually going battle cruisers. And what's hilarious is there's not an appropriate level of anti-air. Now, they're not going to be great versus the Ultras, but they'll kill Lings, they'll hold bases, they can harass drones.
He was getting Liberator range, which is why I didn't say anything about battle cruiser. But then he canceled it and went for battle cruisers. So I don't know if I really agree with that, but he did stop making Liberators just entirely.
But here's my thing, right? The battle cruisers, as silly and funny as this is, Semper went for a battlecruiser in that 1 game we cast with him a while back, and we asked if it was a misclick, and he said no, it's actually really good at killing drones, and if you can teleport out before it dies, it's really cost effective. So it didn't work in that instance, and I don't know if this will work for GuMiho here, but I like, with his harass-oriented gameplay, I actually like this choice, if that's the thought process behind it.
Ooh, this is a really nice setup.
That Liberator's like, fuck you, Ultralisk. You're not defending shit this time.
And this is actually kind of going back to just the lack of anti-air. Corrosive Biles and Fungals, they'll miss sometimes. They really aren't, like, they're not going to be everywhere at once. They're not going to be too great at picking off every single air unit that you have to deal with. Eventually, Corruptors should have come out for Soulkey, but of course his bases have been harassed so much that he doesn't have the gas, he doesn't even really have the minerals to go for a Spire. But that would have made his composition absolutely 100% perfect. He's still ahead in supply and still looking really good. The Battlecruiser just seems so silly because it's so expensive. I don't even know where it went. It's going across the map. It's just like going across the map.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's just I think it's gonna go to one of these bases, do as much damage as it can, and teleport out afterwards. We'll see what it actually does. We'll come back to that Battlecruiser in a moment. But I was gonna say, like, GuMiho, it's funny, like, his moves to dance, his EMPs, like, these cool tactics have been great, but never in any of these head-on engagements has he looked really amazing. Here, this planetary should hold this position, and this might very well win him the game, depending on how bad Soulkey's army does here. Ooh. The SCVs are hidden from the attack. A couple go down, sure, but the Ghost reigns supreme, and more importantly, I think it's the planetary fortress that won that battle.
Yeah, I got a last shot on a lot of those ultras, derped him out too, so that was quite nice. Now, notably, he saved all of his infestors. If they had energy, they'd be popping up and fungling right now, but he's got to depend on the 2 new ones that came across the map. I guess these are Lings and 2 more ultras on top of some of the production for GuMiho. All of his drops have now been cleaned up. His only harassment is this Battlecruiser.
He was coming home, by the way, with the Battlecruiser. I think was the intention there. But the planetary looks like it's going to hold again. I mean, ultras are actually not good at killing buildings, which is ironic because Wings of Liberty, they specifically had bonus damage versus buildings, right? But with the Lings picking off the SCVs on the backside, that planetary will, however, go down. Not enough energy on these ghosts to get a lot of snipes. There might be 1 or 2 left. Medevacs want to pick these up if they can, but the Fungal is going to say no thank you. GuMiho is actually on almost no supply. I want this to look like the return of the Terran Hope for a moment. This Battlecruiser is really all he has going for him right now.
It took forever to get anywhere.
It's worth noting, the Battlecruiser has weapon upgrades. And this is Soulkey's only real mining base right now. Funny enough, he's got a couple patches here and there, sure, but he's going to have to make so many spore crawlers.
His Ravagers did die in that main attack, so he doesn't have any anti-air.
I don't know what to make of this situation.
So dumb. So dumb. The spore crawlers are going to actually form, though, so...
Yeah, but they just teleport out.
Yes, he should teleport out, but that's going to be the end of the harassment, is my point. Like, unless he just sits there.
Teleport out? You become invulnerable when you activate it. GuMiho, please! Oh, he's busy microing elsewhere on the map. Okay, fine, but... You know, he did a lot of damage because that's not only a majority of Soulkey's drones, considering he's down to 24 drones. That's a lot of money he can't afford to spend on spore crawlers at this stage of the game.
I mean, it was pretty, like, almost worth it for taking out the drones in the way that it did.
I know, it essentially killed all the drones.
GuMiho is on 0 SCVs.
Yes. So
there's that.
He's got a couple orbitals, but unfortunately they're starting to burn. He doesn't have anything to work with at all.
He has 1 ghost. And
you know what,
like a fairly sizable Marauder army.
You know what, though? Soulkey can't get up this ramp. He legit cannot push up this ramp. Oh, wait, GuMiho had army? Oh, there it is. I was going to say, he had something here. Now, if this leaves, if he goes to drop with these, he'll push up this ramp. Infested Terrans will come down and kill all the production. That orbital died. He didn't lift it in the top right, by the way. GuMiho's looking on base trade, like almost borderline base trade tactics right now, and I don't know if that's the way to go for this.
Well, there's no other way he can go.
Oh, it's burning. This is his last orbital. He's got no SCVs. He's going to have to drop some mules.
Well, yeah, it's why he's landing it. I mean, yeah, the base trade's not going to work. But it is a desperate attempt that if Soulkey was doing a little worse, it could have worked, you know? If he didn't have a bank, if he was down to 8 drones instead of 16.
GG. Whoa. That was a really long game, number 1, but that was a really awesome game, number 1. Soulkey will take the map. This will, of course, give GuMiho map selection for the next one. But while I normally wouldn't try and run an ad after game 1, guys, that was an incredibly long match. So we're going to go to a small break of just 2 minutes while we get this next map up, and we'll see you soon. I love this comment from chat from Enlightened Enigma. It says, what an awesome first game. I feel like I'm watching GSL. That's the beauty of the Olimoleague, guys. Every Saturday it's like this. We always get great games, and it's always good fun, and I'm glad to see you are enjoying it. There's some discussion about Marauders in chat. I actually do want to talk about that in a moment, but let's get these intros out of the way first. Spawning here on the bottom left side of Dusk Towers, it's the red Terran player, GuMiho.
The top right as the blue Zerg, he is Soulkey.
So, Marauders, let's let's talk in detail about Marauders, because Marauders had what I felt like was the most unnecessary change going from HOTS to Legacy. And I thought at first Blizzard was doing it for a cool factor, and then David Kim later voiced his opinion that he really was trying to make Zerg late game like a huge pressure point for the matchup. And I don't disagree. Like TvZ is a lot of fun to watch when you've got good players playing, so I don't have a lot of complaints with the end result. But the Marauder, for those who don't know, it used to have a lot of damage versus Ultras because the armor wasn't as big of an issue. Even before applying the new chitinous plating, which is better than the one in HOTS, the thing was Marauders only had one attack, so it hit hard. Coming from HOTS to Legacy, they split that attack in two, so Marauders still technically do the same amount of damage, but it's in two attacks, which means armor gets applied twice. And when you've got like 8 armor, 7 armor, even just as low as 6 armor, double like taking away from Marauder shots, that's why they're so useless now. However, there are some small scenarios we've seen with good focus fire, excellent kiting, and no infestors to fungal an army in place. Marauders can still work, but for the most part, when we're talking about Ultras, you're looking for Ghosts, you're looking for Liberators, and as we've seen, weirdly enough, even in some smaller, rarer instances, Thor's even making an appearance as anti-Ultras units.
Yeah, or tanks. So I guess 4 options technically.
Well, I mean, tanks are already pretty crappy versus Ultras, and now they want to take away the tank drop. I'm just saying.
Well, if they take away the tank drop, they're going to be really terrible. But like on Dusk Towers, for instance, if they take the 4th and you find the ledge up against the 4th ledge, if they don't take the pocket 4th, that is, or even if they do, I guess there's a ledge there too. If you have like 10 tanks, they're going to do a lot of damage. And we do see some people potentially try and go for like, double or even triple factory, trying to experiment with different options other than Ghosts and Liberators, because Ghosts, and the main problem with Ghosts, besides that they're a little too expensive on the mineral side, which, I mean, back when this first appeared to be a problem, we thought maybe decreasing them to higher gas, lower minerals again would help, but, no one takes us seriously. But also, the control that is needed... Oh my god, he's going double starport. The control that is needed for Ghosts to be protected while you kite the rest of your army and ensure that you don't get fungled and all of that combined does not go so well, like, 80% of the time, I would say. Obviously, if you have high ground, like GuMiho did at a couple of points, it goes fine, but...
So the double starport actually is really worth talking about, especially because of the necessity this does not get scouted. But quickly answering Curious Neri, I believe is how you pronounce that name in chat, says, so I turned off ad block and I got an ad, but there's the option to skip it within a few seconds. Do you have to watch the whole thing? Unfortunately, yes. If you skip the ad, we don't get any money for it whatsoever. But the idea is that we have nothing going on during the ad breaks anyways, so hopefully that helps you make a decision. Either way, going on this double starport though, 2-port. Oh, I thought it was gonna be 2-port Banshee. It's a Banshee and a Liberator. This is still interesting to me because we've had this exact discussion in the past where, like, look, you can zone out with the Liberator, but it's eventually cleaned up. Is it instead better to get a Banshee because you'll get confirmed kills? Which does more damage, but the two combined, what's really cool for this in my opinion is not only can the Liberator set up a little bit more closely, but you can also drive the queens that would otherwise pick off that Liberator away, because the Banshee with Cloak is going to kill the queens straight up. Alternatively, you put the Liberator in one spot, deny mining, and micro the hell out of the Banshee in another and kill a ton of drones. But what I like most behind all of what this happened for the opening was GuMiho got really aggressive with the Marines, in a lesser way really felt like a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, see, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna finish my point with saying, like, you're not gonna be sending overlords in to scout the main if you're busy dancing around with Marines outside of your natural, right? Like 4 Marines doesn't seem like much, but that should have been a red herring to something. Either way, Banshee not quite revealing itself yet. I think the creep tumors can almost see it. But the Liberator was kept back, and he's waiting until he has 3 of them to send them forward. GuMiho is really pulling out some special tactics here on Dust Towers.
Yeah, this is really cool to see. However, Dust Towers does have the problem in that it's not necessarily the map to only go roaches. You can see people go Spire, especially Soulkey, who's like kind of like maybe not the first, but the first to do it commonly to go Spire. And Spire does shut down Liberators, which are very popular on this map. It shuts down Banshees, which obviously can't attack up. At least the Liberators can be sent back home and used defensively, especially if they're in high number. But if he's going to spread them out, then the mutas are going to be fine against them. And if even, okay, he sees it with the Overseers, so now he doesn't even have to get mutas necessarily, he can just get Corruptors.
Yeah, and I think if he gets Corruptors, that's going to shut GuMiho down really hard. Because GuMiho, I mean, in fairness, this is almost like a mech opening in a small way, where he doesn't have to play super aggressive with it to make it worthwhile. He could actually just play defensive. Oh, that Spore Caller repositioning was a bit of a mistake, perhaps. Banshee's just going to fly by. But regardless of whether it's Corruptors or not, it is worth noting that this range is not something that's just an early game problem. This will persist for the rest of the match. And oh my god.
Well,
so I mean, like we talked about this before, like battle cruisers are legit hard to deal with, even if you've got Corruptors. But by the way, this just solidifies more to the point that you should get Corruptors. By the way, but there's so many Spore Claws being baited out by these Banshees. It just seems strange to invest in it.
I don't know why he would get the Spire and then not go for anything with the Spire. It's like,
you know what? He didn't know about, like, he scouted and saw a couple Liberators and maybe thought, okay, the fact that I've scouted means he's not going to over-invest into this. He, like, it's weird, like, it's like double bluff bullshit type thing, but I actually think that's kind of how that played out, because now he comes in with a lot of Liberators, and there is not anti-air.
Either that, or he was just thinking mutas, and then seeing Liberators was like, okay, I can't go mutas, and then he might have kind of forgotten that Corruptors would be a better option, as mutas against 5 or 4 Liberators would not do very well. Of course, GuMiho is still investing into said Liberators, so the Ravagers aren't going to be enough.
And oh, look at this!
I'm worried.
The Banshees, not really what I'm excited about here. I mean, 3 of them is cool, go girls, but the Hellions. A lot of drones tend to stack up when you're running away from Liberators.
He gets mutas. All right, well, if the mutas are, or rather, if the Liberators are, you know, 1 by 1 attacking every single base, then that's not a problem to clean up with mutas, but Corruptors would have been a little bit better in case they did actually stack up against you. They wouldn't just instantly die like the mutas.
He could have. Oh, he's gonna eat that Spore Caller. It's unfortunate. Liberators, to a degree, can deal with mutas depending on how the splits are. But again, for GuMiho, this was kind of a. This is so weird. This is like I'm watching Lily Canine play.
It is, yeah. I mean, he's certainly gonna go into mech, but it's like you skipped the factory part of mech. You just went straight to the starport part because you don't have money and gas to go for the factories. And it's such a surprise that, of course, Soulkey wouldn't be prepared for it.
I mean, who goes battle cruisers, right? Like, such a small, select few people will do this. But I guess the reality is, battle cruisers are still pretty good units. And unfortunately, Parasitic Bomb was nerfed recently, and maybe just that 30 damage nerf is enough to give Terran that sky power back. I mean, for those who don't know, for the last 8 months that we've been watching Legacy of the Void, combination beta, combination live release, you just couldn't go air. Parasitic Bomb was such a stupid... It was so incredibly strong that just the possibility of it being in the game meant it wasn't worth trying to go for air, regardless of whether it was actually in play or not. That's a lot of Liberators, though, and these mutas not ready for it. Hellions getting surprising damage done on these roaches, and the battle cruisers in tow.
The Hydralisk would do fine against this as well if they were in larger numbers. 12 really isn't that many. It's just that this is kind of like, I feel the goal of GuMiho, though, is that everything would be fine if Soulkey had larger numbers, if his droning was not interrupted by having to deal with such a wacky opener, if he had a 4th base already mining, then you just simply overrun someone who's playing mech, and in this case, air mech. But that wasn't the case. Like, he was harassed, he was like, what the hell's going on? And he doesn't have the biggest army. He's not maxed out. He's actually supply blocked right now. It's hitting before his upgrades are going to be done. Soulkey is having a tough decision here to try and break out, or...
Oh.
Well, now the Liberators are on siege, he could definitely break out. Yeah. Run! Run, air! I
mean, the Helmet's dying for... That kind of sucks, but just shutting down a base of Soulkey kind of good in this situation. Hyperflight Rotors, though, zombie up. Hyperflight Rotor Banshees!
Why didn't they change this icon, too? They're so lazy.
What? They did change it. It's
like on production tab.
Yeah, production tabs are still broken because of the changes, but we'll talk more. If he survives the Hyperflight Rotor Banshees, guys, Rifkin's gonna be the happiest camper. But battle cruisers, strangely enough, are being focused down by the Banshee or by the Mulas. Sorry, I actually kind of think you should have left the Liberators in anti-air mode and let the battle cruisers deal with the ground. Banshee's trying to do what they can. This kind of caught GuMiho a bit off guard. He did go for an attack with all said Liberators and battle cruisers on the other side of the field, but yeah, the Spore Callers are winning this fight. This is a really dumb, amazingly weird, terrible game.
Well, this is actually game over for GuMiho.
Yeah, if he loses both these orbitals, probably the battle cruisers could have teleported home. This is what's killing me. It's like he doesn't know the ability exists. I feel like, like the teleport on the battle cruisers. For those who don't know, it's not just like a recall in terms of like you can go where you'd like, but it also makes you invulnerable on like the mothership core. He is gonna hold up in the main, so try and buy this time. Oh, that orbital. Can you repair it? Oh my God, he could, but he's not going to.
Ugh. Oh, I got it.
Why did he put the other one back? What the fuck?
I don't know.
But you know, look at Soulkey for a moment here. His income.
Huh?
Did I break graphs? I didn't. Okay, great. Soulkey's income took a pretty big hit while this went on as well. I mean, it's looking better now because, of course, he drove back and killed a couple orbitals. But Hyperflight Rotor Banshees are now in effect. And for those who don't know why Rifkin gets so excited about these, is because players who have good control like GuMiho can use them to their greatest extent. These units are so fast, Overseers cannot keep up with them. So even if you had Mutilas or Corruptors chasing down the Banshees, that doesn't necessarily mean you could kill them. Now, unfortunately, it's not being really all utilized here. But it's worth noting, while GuMiho's in a pretty shitty spot, so is Soulkey. This base wasn't mining because of those Liberators, and he's only just gotten back to getting his income back up. So that's why we didn't see Soulkey like max out and destroy GuMiho while this went on. GuMiho, however, in the defense of that situation, built a ton of Liberators. Like, he has a stupid amount of Liberators.
Soulkey is going into those Corruptors now, though, which are going to do a bit better versus the Unsieged Liberators. He's also getting the Carapace upgrade, which is pretty important. There's the rest of his gas going into the Corruptors. He could flood with Lings. That's the only thing he really could do with these minerals. But, of course, with Hellbats, even a very small amount of Hellbats on the field, they wouldn't be too useful. Gonna lose his fourth base again. Soulkey does have minerals to double expand, though, so I guess another use of the minerals.
I don't know if the Corruptors are going to cut it in this situation. There's so much splash damage from these Liberators.
Yeah, and as long as they're all on siege, like, I think that the Corruptors would have a very tough time, but he does have to siege them, at least some of them, for that ground army.
Even if, like, let's assume for a moment the Corruptors all fight these Liberators, right? The Liberators all die for the sake of it. These Banshees are the real threat in this situation. Now he's going to fly away, and thank God for the Hyperflight Rotors. But other side of the map, there's going to be an attack. Looks like we got a Banshee out here, a couple Liberators set up. Banshees, by the way, do such a strong amount of damage. Like, these things just should never be underestimated.
Yeah. Soulkey kind of gives up on that other fourth and takes the pocket now, but he should probably double expand, even to a hidden base. Despite having the air control with the Banshees, GuMiho has been focused on just attacking the main bases of Soulkey. But that's what Banshees are good at, is like taking care of all the extra bases that usually come down in the late game. TvZ, oh my God, look at them go.
I know, they're so fast, I can barely scroll with it. The Corruptors, though, are still going to be a problem. At the end of the day, like, this is a hell of a lot of Liberators, sure. A couple of Vikings come out, but if he splits...
I love the... He's getting such a good air army again after losing control of his third base.
I know, and like, losing 2 orbitals on top of that was like...
my God.
I thought game ending, but... unfortunately, he can't take a head-on fight. He kind of has to hit and run no matter how you play this out, and it's not looking too good for that. However, on the other side of the map, this has brought most of those Corruptors back home. This brand new base, which is really important, is going to get focused down. And 4 Banshees with +2 weapons take down a building really fast. Ravens coming out are questionable, because I don't know how good Seeker missiles are nowadays. You can actually... What's funny, there's actually an upgrade to increase the damage of Seeker missiles and auto turrets. Auto turrets may be better... given the way you can outrun a Seeker missile, but oh my God.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
There's not a lot of drones, and so any losses are going to be pretty painful. However, gets just them on the ramp. This is kind of nice. GuMiho's not going to get away with his damage that he thought he was going to get away with.
Attack Hydras, damn you. Yeah, in fact, doesn't get in on top of any of the drones. Not Blue Flame either, so yeah, that doesn't do too much. But, you know, the Banshees killing that one base really did hurt, so...
Exactly. Like, Soulkey, okay, he had the money, double expands, trying to expand once again. But the fact is, his mineral patches are pretty much gone. So right now, he's got the army supply lead massively. But I don't know if it's enough to break GuMiho just yet. It all depends how badly GuMiho gets caught out of position. Because this is an incredibly strong air force.
Yeah. Well, Soulkey was missing a couple of crucial units to really make his own air force the best that it could be. So Fungals, obviously, as well as parasitic bombs, which aren't as good as they used to be, but it's a lot of splash damage. I mean, you see the Liberators constantly clumping up. The Corruptors could pee on this, help out a little bit, but they just want to keep them basically aware of the Liberators and the Banshees.
Do any of these Ravens have a secret missile ready to go? Point defense run, I guess
think
maybe. I'm curious what he plans to use because point defense runs only last for like 4 seconds. Just kind of really ridiculous. 14, excuse me. But there we go, point defense drone. So we get some splash damage on those corruptors.
Nope.
Gotta be careful about overextending. There's still some hydras on the ground he's gotta look out for.
Yeah.
But
and now he's gonna have to worry about fungals too.
This is that back, like this is the same pressure applied back. Now, there's 2 important things happening right now. First off, GuMiho doesn't have a 4th, and he's muled / mining out this 1 mining base he has. So this is scary. But, on the other hand, Soulkey is also advancing towards Hive Tech, finally. And I gotta tell you, with the amount of clumping going on, even though Parasitic Bomb took that nerf, it would do a lot of damage to this army.
Yep. I have a lot of faith in Soulkey as he's finally able to stabilize and get to all the tech that he was missing out. I mean, the Banshees looked like they might have just kind of snowballed or halted Soulkey's progress at the very least, but then they all died, really. Now he's starting to make them again, and he should be pairing them off from, oh my god, that Mule Hammer. He should be pairing them off from the main army as well to continue harassing, because they can take down Spore Crawlers no problem when they're in like 5 or 6, but he goes with this entire army, was just asking to get fungled. This is so dangerous.
I love chat, by the way.
Fungals are ready, a couple of them are. There's
this is
one.
Scary. Hit some of the Banshees. I mean, even just get the Banshees is not bad. But I love chat, by the way. Someone out there saying, somewhere out there, Nathaniel's just like smiling right now. Probably. I mean, it's GuMiho.
No.
Nathaniel loves GuMiho too.
Soulkey cannot take a fight whenever GuMiho is entrenched, but whenever GuMiho actually has to fly across either to attack or to defend, that's where his army seems like it's really going to have a lot of trouble. So Soulkey does try and commence the literal trade of bases here, like 1 for 1.
Yeah, and if he catches that army like in transit on the way back, yeah, that's really scary. But you know what? These corruptors still haven't healed up. Like 1 or 2 shots from a Viking, a volley from the Liberators.
Yeah, I wonder how good the queens would actually be. Like, transfuses would be obviously really, really good. They wouldn't really be able to reach the Liberators very quickly, of course, but if they were flying, they still have some pretty decent anti-air. But Soulkey is, like, he doesn't really have a lot of minerals. Usually, you know, at some point they have a good number of minerals, and they just invest into queens, because lings aren't going to be too useful.
That base getting shut down crippled Soulkey, but then again, Soulkey crippled GuMiho. This is a real back and forth game, and it really shouldn't be. Everything here says that it should be a like one player completely destroys the other. The Fungal's all right, but Liberators, they've got some health. They can take a hit. Those Vipers, they're going to have a couple of parasitic bombs. We'll see if it's going to be enough. Corruptors coming in a little bit early. That splash damage hitting hard. These Corruptors taking those hits.
Holy hell.
Oh my gosh.
Why go with before the parasitic bombs? Now they're ready, but of course the Liberators are pre-split, so they're not really doing that much.
Splits here are not good out of GuMiho at all, actually. But
they're
now there's this little to no anti-air.
Oh no!
The Spore Crawlers! Oh my god, the Spore Crawlers!
And the Queen!
Oh my god, the Transfuses! Now, a couple of Banshees live, but this is not an army either player can easily replace. But I feel in this situation for GuMiho, it's much more dire, I suppose you could say. But picks off the Overseer, no detection for the Banshees. They're looking to go ham. He's trying to transfuse those. Gonna land the Vikings on the ground too. Why the hell not do as much damage as possible? Because if Soulkey loses this base, he is building another hatchery, but he's like out of money. This is it. Like these 5 units from GuMiho could win the game. Hellbats, get your asses up to that mineral line. Kill some mother flipping drones.
Get one corruptor. One corruptor. A Viper pops out. That's great. Fly into the Spore Crawler. Move the Spore Crawler! Okay, moves one Spore Crawler.
Mule comes down, but I don't think this is for mana. I actually think he wants to repair these very precious units that he can't afford to replace.
Ooh! It's 2 shots, just barely.
Oh
my god, Soulkey is trying to deny the 4th base with a couple of roaches, but more Banshees are on the way. I think GuMiho might have just snowballed here. Soulkey lost so many units just coming out one at a time trying to defend this base. He went from about 80 supply down to 42.
Okay, that Parasitic Bomb was nice. He doesn't split. Oh, he does split the last second, so he only loses the 1 Banshee. But GuMiho, I guess the difference here is... Oh, he's got to repair that orbital, please. God damn it, please. There you go. He's got mules, right? This is one of those few times in StarCraft 2 I'm going to be like, okay, mules are kind of stupid, but this has been a great... This was not what I expected. When I saw him pick Dusk Towers, right? I'm expecting ghosts. I'm expecting planters in the middle of the map. I'm expecting a large turtle game. Not an actively constant action crazy air battle game.
I really think GuMiho has done it. Soulkey
I
only
think so as
on
well.
one
He's gonna kill the
base.
spore
Like,
crawler.
he's not actually mining off of any other base. He has a couple mineral pouches in his third, but that's it.
The other spore crawler's so low. If 2 more banshees come, he can actually just pick off the spore crawlers. That's all he needs to do. Liberator comes out, just sets up over behind the mineral lines. Hellbat's walking.
I guess he's getting Hydralisk because he's afraid of more Liberators and figures he can get under the Liberators where they siege, which is, you know, what would have been ideal the last time they fought. But the Hydras can die to the Banshees.
Banshees are not being used too terribly effectively, but this one is gonna kill this hatchery. No spore crawler over there. This base from Soulkey is so incredibly important though, because it is his only income. They're
he
both
needs
on.
to get another base.
I agree, but he doesn't have the money to do it. He's just flat out doesn't have the money. Is the problem?
Oh, GuMiho.
I wish these Hellbats were Hellions, and I wish he would just dive that mineral line, kill those drones.
Oh, jeez, he's going for it. These Liberators are a little exposed. Gets on top of the Hellbats, too. They're going to do well against that just with the range. Parasitic Bomb goes down on one of the Banshees.
If you pulled all this back, you wouldn't have lost anything.
Yeah.
Parasitic Bomb. SCV.
Soulkey has to have such great engagements. Like, he cannot lose Hydralisks to even, like, and they die to the Liberators quite quickly.
The SCV was only doing 1
Where's,
damage.
like, the one Corruptor? Like, he spent so much on Hydralisk because he's afraid of the Liberators, but... Okay, the problem is that Corruptors, they actually can't chase the Banshees.
Oh, kill the Hydra down.
Appropriately.
There you go. This problem solved, Zombie Grub.
Overseer can't catch the Banshees. That's like the main problem with these stupid Banshees.
This Ling run by though, gonna pick up some very precious SCVs.
Pick up this Hellbat. Get it! Get it!
Hellbats, you're supposed to be good against these units, man. What are you doing?
They have no upgrade.
He's actually gonna lose all the SCVs!
It's not their fault.
Here comes those Hydras as well. Oh, the orbital. I mean, this is so dumb. GuMiho should have won this game.
He has 3 extra bases though. Like, he actually used his mineral income.
Oh my god. Liberator sets up. You know what? The Cloaked Banshee will drive all this back.
He has no Overseer. Oh, why would you attack with no Overseer?
Yeah, well, I mean, Cloaked Banshee's been such a big part of the game. Look how fast it is. The Hydras, there's no way to escape this. You know what, though? While this goes on, like, I thought GuMiho was going to lose this from the counterattack. Okay, sure. It's worse for Soulkey. He's been denied mining. Liberator over here. He's trying to get a new base up over here. That Banshee's just going to pick off all the drones flooding between the two. Hydras come out, and it's a little bit scary, but just flies away. That's speed advantage for the Banshee. You know what actually is killing me? GuMiho, float a command center over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh, the rocks were taken down. Never mind.
Well, even so, like, you know, they haven't been scouting each other's golds.
Yeah.
Soulkey could have also gotten away with getting his gold.
Just straight up take the gold income. Okay, again, economies are so dire at this point of the game. These Hellion run-bys, this could be what actually locks this down. If he gets there, not get stuck on the doodads.
I am so mad that he
Josie
hasn't built a single Corruptor, you know?
I know, but you know what? At the same time, we've been through this so many times with NA players, EU players, Korean players alike. You start tunnel visioning at this point in the game. You're not thinking of that one simple move that could otherwise have won you the game.
His only air-to-air
oh my God, look at the rules! I'm gonna
okay, so what's so funny though
Jesus.
is that, like, he can build as many extra command centers as he wants, but he actually can't use the minerals on something really productive. Like, he's making 2 islands at a time. He's never made any more factories.
He needs gas, yeah.
He needs gas, so all he really needs is 6 SCVs.
Yo, take one of those reactors and start pumping Marines even at this point.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to get the Hellions to do damage, but they are getting just barely cleaned up. And these supplies, I swear to God.
I know, this is killing me. Look at 34 versus 36. But the thing that is so ridiculously stupid, right? We look at the buildings. The Hydra den wasn't remade. So if these Hydras die, there's not going to be any more anti-air. So for that reason alone, I think the Hellions, instead of sacrificing for drones, if they sacrifice for the Hydras, end up being way better.
Yeah. I guess I agree. Soulkey is trying to remake drones. It's just so desperate. A Liberator has sieged up his other third again, whatever you want to call it, by the way.
How many times? Is this like the 12th time this base has been lifted / killed / denied? Like...
all of his drones are going down. He has to reposition the spore crawlers. No, Viper. Oh no, you're so important. No.
Oh my gosh. This game, I don't even know what to say. These poor Hydras are all he can only make roaches.
Why is he making making roaches? Like,
Because
protect
he
against
can
the
only
Hellcats?
make roaches. There's nothing else he can make. He's good. Okay, now it finally makes the Hydra Dan more
Corruptors.
likely. Zombie Grub, shush. Your ideas are
Corruptor.
wild and crazy, and you'll be tried as a witch.
No, please no. Because look, like it's so. Oh my god.
He's like on top of the larva, so he can't make corruptors of you. Where are these guys going? Hiding in plain sight. They'll never look for us next to the enemy extractor. Like, what the?
He's gonna kill the spore crawler. He's gonna kill the drones, but he's gonna kill the spore crawlers too.
Well, no, he's not.
He's making
No,
nothing
he's
but
not.
banshees. Well,
Joke.
he could.
Psych.
No, move!
The SCVs actually don't do any damage to the drones because of the armor upgrades,
Oh,
which is
God.
kind of funny. So these drones, or the SCVs, are just fodder at best.
3 more Hydralisks.
Liberator! Liberator!
He lost to the rest of the Hydralisk.
Yeah.
4
And-
Hydralisks cannot take on
Not with Hellbats, not with Hellions.
4 Hellions and actually 8 Hellions if he turns the Hellbats and a Banshee.
Oh, hello.
So now he can't get a Corruptor because all they like. I still think he should like get 1 Corruptor in case Banshees do come back into play. But GuMiho's recognized, but like you did, that like, he should just go for Hellions.
Yeah. I would even argue. No, it's not worth making another factory at this point. No one's got any money to work with, but.
You know what else the Corruptor could do?
Key on a building?
Be on a building.
Yeah. Last Hydra goes
Oh,
down.
that's it.
Banshee
That's it, right?
is the king. I mean, he could make more. No, he doesn't have gas. Oh,
No,
shit.
there's no gas.
He's gonna lose the hatchery before he gets the gas to make a Hydra. Realizing this, he desperately hops into the extractor, but that's not gonna happen.
GuMiho's making 2 more Banshees. Like,
Zombie Grub, he can't win. He doesn't have the gas to build the anti-air. He throws on a parasitic bomb, but it's not enough damage, I don't think.
not anymore.
No, oh my god.
Yeah, if it was old Parasitic Bomb, I think it would have done it.
Oh my god.
No, actually, it wouldn't have.
He still doesn't have the gas to do anything. 2 more Banshees. GuMiho's done it. He's won this game. In the stupidest, dumbest, I finally win fashion. GG.
Oh my god. Oh,
This
so good.
This is why I fucking love the Olimoleague. And if you guys haven't already, you need to get on the Patreon for this. Because god damn it, GuMiho and Soulkey is going to the ace match. We are going to take an ad break, though, because these have been incredibly long games. So please stick with us. Just 2 minutes, nothing more, I swear to you, as we get into game number 3. We'll see you soon. All right, folks, welcome back to game number 3. I'm still like during that whole 2-minute break, we're just like I can't even about that last game, right? But it is the ace match. So if you're a BaseTradeTV subscriber, I want to see some ace matches in chat. In the bottom right, having tied it up 1-1, it's gonna be the blue Terran player GuMiho.
In the top left, as the red Zerg, he is Soulkey.
So Prion, of course, for those who may have not been keeping up with the game recently, had edits to it. It's becoming more standard, and we're not going to be talking about this as often as time goes on, but natural bases are now golds, and third base over here now a blue mineral patch. The funny thing is, I actually don't know if that would affect this game, because if you consider the way the last one played out, let's assume for a moment GuMiho is crazy enough to try and pull that off again, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the gases that matter a lot more than the minerals. So I don't know how big of an impact this map's going to have, should that be the same situation.
Prion Terraces can be a mech map, but it's still, like, Dusk Towers is the greatest opportunity to do so with the easily attainable 8 gases for bases. But, you know, most of that game was really about the 3 bases, let's be honest.
Yes, that was, as funny as it is to say, for what was almost a 30-minute game, it was the lowest economy late game we've ever seen. Like, all StarCraft eventually trickles down to that point where you're both like clawing your way to 3rds, 4ths, and 5ths and whatnot. But the fact is, I don't think at any point either of them were really efficiently mining at more than 2 bases at any given time.
Nope.
I love, by the way, you've got Hydra tweeting about this. Like, that says something about how crazy that game was. Hydra saying it's the funniest game he's seen in Legacy. Like, that was a ridiculous game for a lot of different reasons. But I do want to talk about what's going on in the bracket behind this. So the winner of this series goes on to fight against Ryung, and the winner of that series goes on to fight against Patience. And we'll probably be trying to cast both semifinals today because it's the only thing we're casting today. As Fear Dragon later on will be coming back for the Latin America and the Oceanic Shanghai qualifiers.
Hopefully, if GuMiho gets through, we won't have, more 45-minute games because we don't want to go over his cast.
Yeah, I mean, this has to finish first, but we'll see.
I don't think it will.
I don't think it will either. But
Olimoleague has never gone past 1 p.m. I think. Like,
well,
maybe once?
Summer, could you please not say never when making statements like this, because that's just asking for something to go wrong.
Oh, my bad. Mobby.
Never say never. Now, at any rate, for Soulkey, I've got a lot of good faith in him. He is, as we said before, a Zerg player who's really figured this matchup well. Game 1, despite GuMiho's best efforts, Soulkey really had him in the palm of his hand for most of that. Game 2, it was a different build, something that for sure hasn't been regularly practiced against, and I'm sure that had a big component as to like why it was handled that way. Whether it's us screaming about like make one corruptor or anything like this, it's because it is such an abnormal situation of StarCraft 2. You practice 800 games of Terran players playing Bio into Ghosts. You get the one with fucking Liberators, Battle Cruiser, and Banshees. You're like, oh, I don't know what to do. But anyways,
Yeah.
the attack is going to come in here. Now, it's worth noting there is not an armory behind this. So this is just Hellions. But whether they distract at the front or whether the Marines distract in the main, something here is probably going to get damage done.
I really thought it was going to be a Hellion drop. It seems to be like, either they have the Suicide or the Hellion drop, and that's the only use Hellions are going to get. It's a nice blast right off the bat, 3 drones going down, but now they are trapped. The Marines in the mineral line just pulled the drones away. They didn't actually die, they just got picked up again. And this is being handled pretty perfectly. Of course, GuMiho getting a third base behind this was not like all in or anything like that. So now up to 5 drones. As these Marines in this little pocket, it's really hard to clean up.
Yeah, the medevac being the biggest factor, but once those queens get over here, this will be less of an issue. Because again, yeah, it's the medevac that really makes this so hard to deal with. But of course, with a lack of creep connecting the 2 bases, he just picks up and moves over, and once again tries to find a spot. This isn't as sweet, of course, but Micro out of GuMiho trying to keep everything alive. Backs away the medevac. Unfortunately, is going to have to abandon ship, but the Marines actually kill a lot of lings, and this for as much of a failure as it was in terms of damage to drone lines, it actually got a good trade and soaked a lot of units, and now there's a Banshee coming in to really add on to this while GuMiho takes a third. That's the important part, I feel. Not the damage he's doing, but the fact that he's continuing to expand behind this.
He's continuing to just bring Soulkey down in that drone supply too. So like, not necessarily the most amount of drones we've ever seen killed, only 8 actually, but GuMiho being up 10 workers, that says a lot of how much Soulkey was not droning to even have the drones to kill in the first place. There's so many lings just went down.
Right, that's what I was talking about. Like the emphasis there being like, okay, the Marines didn't kill drones, but if you kill a bunch of lings, they have to replace those lings with more lings, which means you're not building more drones, and it compiles on itself so quickly. Now the Hellions here is a good idea, but there's not a lot of drones here to kill. I think he should have known better, I guess you could say.
Maybe. We do have more drones coming out now as Soulkey feels a little bit safer. The Spire on the way is happening before the upgrade, so it's going to maybe be a little bit faster than GuMiho expects, but actually if Liberator gets in here... okay, no, the Spire's up the natural. But Liberator gets in here on top of the larva, so it's still important to note. Killing the eggs as well. No drones for you.
I mean, it's not as devastating, but it still gets some pretty good damage. You don't know what's coming out of those. Could be a Mutalisk, could be lings. You just kill it. It doesn't have a chance. It's unborn. That's a creepy thing to think about, actually. It's like horror movie stuff right there.
Yeah, let's not go down that road.
Yeah. Actually, wasn't there a horror movie called like The Unborn or something like that too?
Something like that. I guess it was like a, where kids are terrible, creepy monsters.
Oh,
Those
so
are
like,
the best horror movies.
So just kids in general then.
Whoa. It's gonna be cute.
Okay, Hellions gonna back away. This is an abnormally large amount of Hellions though, and it's funny because we've talked about this so many times, how Hellions, it almost feels like have fallen out of the matchup, but GuMiho's been making pretty good use of them. Back at home, that's a sweet wall blocking off the third, and I just want to comment on how pretty the SimCity and his main looks.
Ooh, so pretty. He will want to get maybe a missile turret or 2 around that SimCity, as he sees that mutas are out. It's not a lot of mutas, mind you, only up to 5. Just 5. It's hardly even worth it. Usually 8 or 10 is a better number, maybe even 12.
The armory is actually complete here in just a second. You can make these all hellbats and heal them up. The small amount of mutas still going to be susceptible to Marines. Just GuMiho's Marines are actually kind of valuable, and they're low quantity, so hopefully it doesn't give them away like that. He is rallying, it's worth noting. This is actually a practice that did fall off with the way Legacy changed, and we saw a lot less rallying than we did in HOTS. So actually throwing all his units across the map, he wants to get some very serious damage done, but Soulkey not underestimating this. Yeah, he does get some banelings out. Will this be enough, though? Because he's not only got to get through these Hellbats, he's got to get to the Marines.
Pretty good split in those Hellbats. There's a lot of banelings left over. He might be able to take on this army, but at the cost of every single army units, all of these lings, a lot of banelings, so a lot of gas going into this. Soulkey is not going to win the game, even if he was able to clean this up.
But these splits have been so good, and Mutalisks have been bleeding out while this goes on, too, so Soulkey doesn't have a lot of units to work with right now. Look at that army supply difference. GuMiho is actually, I think, going to win this game off this push.
GuMiho 2-1 Soulkey is not too surprising.
But this build is like, oh my gosh. Pay for the Olimoleague, guys. Put $15 into the Patreon. Get the replays from today, because holy shit, if you're a Terran player, GuMiho's the guy to study from.
Oh Jesus.
What a good series. Of course, it breaks our heart to see Soulkey fall. We love Soulkey, and he is normally in the finals of most of these, but this actually leads into a really good TvT follow-up now, because again, the winner plays Ryung, winner of that plays Patience, and if it's Ryung versus Patience, that's going to be like the 7th time we've seen them play each other in this week, like this week alone. So I'm actually really stoked for this side of the brackets. I guess we'll get that set up ASAP. Orena's going to be the first map there.
Okay, I'll make it. Let's do this.
This has been a great Olimoleague so far, so thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying it. I guess a couple things to just discuss here, because someone asked us during the game and I didn't want to deter from the game. Kaspara says, BaseTradeTV and Zombie Up, can you guys tweet if the ad revenue has increased after asking people to turn off ad block? I'm curious how big a percentage of the community actually cares. For example, I had ad block and I didn't even realize it's on here. I almost always go AFK during the breaks, and it's pure luck that I heard that one section of this stream.
Bad news.
What?
Ryung vs GuMiho already is gone.
They already started? What the fuck?
Right?
No. That can't be right.
I saw GuMiho in a game, and then I saw Ryung in a game, and then they both left the Olimoleague chat.
Okay.
So unless it's witchcraft afoot.
No, I think you're right. I'm messaging Olivia about this so she can go reach out to him, maybe. I'm not sure if they... because they're not living in the house anymore. He lives in the MVP house. Well, sorry. Okay, well... Ask Zombie Up. So I'll leave you to figure that out with Olivia while I finish this point on stream. So... as far as ad block percentage goes, the problem is, Kaspera, I would love to tweet that. There's two problems right now. First off, I don't know what I can actually share from Twitch to say like whether it's working or not. Like if I actually had permission, because I actually don't know if I can. Again, I asked, but I'm waiting to hear a reply. That says like, yeah, you can post your ad. Knowledge is power, and I have no embarrassment about you guys knowing how little we make on the channel versus how much we make or anything like that. But it's a question of whether I'm allowed to, first off. Secondly, as far as whether it's going to be effective or not, that's an impossible stat to give, because even though everybody tuning in right now, 4,000 people may say simultaneously in this imaginary scenario, all turn off your ad block, it doesn't mean tomorrow's 4,000 people are going to be the same 4,000 people who all have their ad block off. There's no way to actually tell whether that stat would be anything, frankly. So if we do see like overall increases, though, I mean, I'll be very happy to tweet and be like, yeah, good news, guys, we're looking better than ever. But I can't actually give you an answer to your request or question. Secondly, though, and this is what I want to talk about while we're waiting to find out what's going on. We've been kicking ass in subs lately, and I don't even know why. We're at 886 subscribers right now, and we're going to try and get 900 by the end of the month. If we can get about 2 per day, I think we'll be good. So if you guys are having a good time, I hope you consider subscribing to the channel. You don't get replay packs from this tournament. The Olimoleague is one of these rare exceptions. But things like the Ting Open, those groups, we had a really good set of 2 groups so far. We got really good ones ahead of us. Like those replay packs we'll be sending out, Corsair Cups, Cybet Race Wars. On top of the fact that you get a lot of cool emotes and get to be part of this really awesome community even further. So all things considered, hope you guys will maybe think about subscribing to the channel. But more importantly than even that, the Patreon for the Olimoleague. This tournament is so awesome, not because you've got necessarily names like Soulkey and GuMiho fighting each other, but because this is community built. we put forth the initial like 400 or whatever dollars to get the ball rolling for the Olimoleague. After that, you guys said you wanted to see more Korean content. You wanted to see more players like Ryong and Soulkey and GuMiho and you name it. So this Patreon's been running strong for over a year at this point. The bigger it gets, the bigger names we can attract to it. So patreon.com/Olimoleague. And Olimoleague is lurking around in chat. If you guys have questions, ask her. She can answer them. But the thing I like most about it is she's made it very transparent where every dollar goes. Like, it's very clear what goes to adminning costs, what goes to prize pool, all that good stuff. So just check it out, guys. We're going to go to a break, though, because I guess we kind of don't really have any other options. I think they are actually in game, or we're kind of just SOL. Which is bad because they're not supposed to do this, and Olimoleague. I've learned my lesson from recent interaction, guys. I'm not touching this one. This is all Olimoleague. So we're gonna go to a break, and hopefully by the time we return, we'll either have another match we can cast or a better update on GuMiho and Ryong. So we'll see you guys soon.